Malaysia has unveiled its own special stimulus package worth about $2.3 billion. Earlier economic support had totaled more than $57 billion. Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin says the new package is aimed at small and medium-sized enterprises and will soften the impact of the current lockdown. The new measures include a $550 million increase in the wage subsidy for employers, and there's also a $146 million special grant for all small and medium enterprise companies that meet certain conditions. The government has enforced the lockdown since mid-March to curb the spread of the coronavirus, and it's been extended until the 14th of April. Mr. Muhyiddin's announcement also comes as the country saw the death toll rise to 62, with the number of infected also increasing to close to 3,800. Our correspondent Afifa Arfin joins us now. So, Afifa, let's look at the stimulus bill first. So, Mr. Muhyiddin says that it's aimed at small and medium-sized enterprises. How will they get the help then?
That's right. So earlier today, Malaysia's Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin announced an additional 10 billion ringgit set aside to help small and medium-sized enterprises, or SMEs. This is, of course, on top of the total 250 billion ringgit that was announced previously. Now, SMEs make up about 90% of business enterprises in Malaysia that employs about 70% of the workforce in total. Mr. Muhyiddin did say that, some 3 million people may lose their jobs if this movement control order, which has been in place since mid-March, is set to continue. So these measures could help some 2/3 of the workers retain their jobs. So as part of this new economic stimulus package, wage subsidies will be doubled from some 5.9 billion ringgit to 13.8 billion ringgit, and this could help some 4.8 million workers across the country. So, for example, companies could get wage subsidies ranging from 600 ringgit to about 1,200 ringgit per worker per month. So if you're a company with more than 200 people, for example, each worker could get 600 ringgit per month. If you're a company with less than 75 people, for example, then each person could get 1,200 ringgit per month for the next 3 months. The condition for a company to be eligible, however, is that they have to employ these workers for the next 6 months. So 3 months with the subsidies and additional 3 months after. Now, also announced today to help alleviate the financial burden for SMEs, those who had taken loans with the previous economic stimulus package, it will now be interest-free as compared to the 2% interest that was imposed previously.
Afifa, let's turn our attention then to the latest COVID-19 figures coming out from Malaysia. We understand authorities have identified 2 new clusters.
That's right. So today, 131 new cases reported, bringing the total to some 3,793 cases. Another death was also reported today, bringing the total of number of deaths to 62. The latest case is a 67-year-old man who had a history of diabetes and high blood pressure. Now, that man had been in contact with several people who had attended that Islamic gathering in Sri Petaling at the end of February. Now, that religious gathering that took place in Sri Petaling is still the biggest cluster identified in Malaysia. So far, the Health Ministry said that it has taken samples of about 18,000 people, so either those who had attended that gathering or people who had come into contact with those who had. And of this, 1,624 people had tested positive. That's about nearly half the total number of infections in the country. Malaysia has also identified, as you said, 2 new clusters, a church gathering in Sarawak and also at a wedding function in the state of Selangor, each cluster with more than 80 cases, in total 2 deaths. Both clusters have cases of up to 5th generation infections, so the spread from these 2 clusters have gone quite far. At this point in time, from the press conference that was held by the Health Ministry's Director General earlier, he did say that the Health Ministry is looking into working with healthcare facilities to create mass testing kits, for example, that could be taken or done on people from these high risk areas, such as the Islamic gathering or even groups of people people who are returning from overseas. We know that this movement control order, which has been in place since 18th of March, it has been quite strict. People are not allowed to leave their homes. The police have been enforcing it quite stringently. As of now, over the last 3 weeks, we know that there are about 6,000 people arrested just from violating these terms. It's set to possibly continue, but the authorities will decide on the 10th of April.
Okay, many thanks for that. Afifa Arifin speaking to us there.